Good morning. Today is the 20th of Tammuz, the 9th of July. And as promised, we're going to start the Maimer, the essay from Rebbe Hillel of Paritch, called Ita B'Psikta, which means it is written in the Psikta. Psikta is a collection of halachos. This one's particularly the Psikta from Rav Kahana. And it's quoted in the Torah, and we'll get straight into it. And this has to do with the whole understanding of what is exile and what is the redemption and why is it taking so long. That's the most important thing. We're starting. Ita b'psikta. It says in the Psikta, Huva b'tur or chaim siman taf kaf chet. And this is brought down, it's quoted, it's cited in the Torah, or Chaim, Siman 428. So now we'll have to open it up a little because he abridged the text. It says like this: Mi bereshit. It's talking about the Haftaros, the selections from the prophets that we read every Shabbat after we read from the Torah. So Mi bereshit ad Yud Zayin b'Tammuz. I'm filling in what's missing. So from Shabbat Bereshit, when we start reading Bereshit, all the way to Yud Zayin b'Tammuz, it was just last week. What does it say there? Maftirim mi'inyan ha'parshiyot domeh b'domeh. So the selection from the prophets that we read, the Haftarah, has to do, in terms of its content, with the content of the Parsha. They chose similar sections. There has to be some similarity.
To reference, a hint.
No, it's more than it. It's an illusion, but it's powerful. You can't miss it. In other words, domeh v'domeh. Umisham v'ayelach, but from Yud Zayin in Tammuz, the first fast day of the 3 weeks, designating the beginning of the 3 weeks of mourning for the temple. So here it says lefi ha'inyan, but it's a mistake. Lefi ha'zman ulefi ha'meorah. From here on until the end of the year, and actually all the way to Shabbat Bereshit again, the Haftarah has nothing to do with the Parsha. It's not based on the Parsha. It's lefi ha'zman ulefi ha'meorah. It has to do with the time of the year. So that this Shabbos, what did we read? Divrei Yirmiyahu ben Chilkiyahu. We read the beginning of Jeremiah. Why? Because he's one of the prophets of the destruction. We didn't read the Haftarah of Pinchas. Pinchas can also happen before Yud Zayin b'Tammuz, so it has its own Haftarah. But we didn't read that because this year Pinchas was right after Yud Zayin b'Tammuz, the 17th of Tammuz. So we already read what we call Klata de Puranuta. And it starts with the 3 Haftarot, the 3 selections from the prophets for the 3 weeks that are punishments. Okay. The Puranut. There's going to be calamities. So we started with Jeremiah, and we'll end with Isaiah, I think, or wherever we went. I don't remember. So that's those 3 weeks. Then after those 3 weeks, there's Tisha B'Av, the day the temple was destroyed. And the next Shabbos is Shabbat Nachamu. And that starts the 7 weeks of Nechemata. Consolation and of hope, basically. So we don't go back, even though the 3 weeks are over, we don't go back to reading the Haftarah as something that's related to the Parsha. So basically, from here on out till the end of the year, there's no connection between the Parsha. You don't need to look for a connection because that's not how they decided it. You could find one because Jews love to look for connections, but it wasn't decided that way. It was selected based on that it's 7 weeks of consolation. After that, after the 7 weeks of consolation, we have Tarte de Tiyufta. We have 2 weeks of tshuva. Meaning the Haftarah will be related to tshuva. When is this? It's usually Nitzavim Vayelech and Ha'azinu. Ha'azinu is almost always Shabbat Shuvah. It's almost always. Almost always. Sometimes it doesn't work out that way. But in principle, it's almost always that. But in any case, it will be two haftarot that have to do with teshuvah. They also don't relate to the parsha. And then what happens? And then it's Sukkot. So you read the haftarah that's related to Sukkot. And then right after Sukkot, the next Shabbat is Bereshit, and we start over again. So that's the cycle. That's how the cycle was determined. Meaning, he says, Hainu miyudzayin betamuz ad Yom Kippurim. Meaning, from 17th of Tammuz all the way to Yom Kippur. What is this chunk of time in Jewish history? Yudzayin betamuz was the day that Moshe Rabbeinu broke the first tablets, and Yom Kippur was the day that he came down with the second set of tablets. So in between you have 80 days. So during these 80 days we have these 3, 7, and 2 haftarot that are not related to the parashot that we read. Okay, apart from the holidays also. So what is this? Well, what's going on here? Why did they do this? Mevurah b'sifrei Kabbalah tam. So in the books of Kabbalah, they're bringing a reason for this. Now it's very interesting to find out which books of Kabbalah he's talking about, but he's talking about in general in the Arizal, and there's this explanation that Gimel dut Puranut ha'istalkut Gimel mochin de Chabad. The 3 haftarot, Yudzayin B'Tammuz until Tisha B'Av, those 3 weeks, the haftarah that we read, the selection from the prophets, represents these calamities, these punishments. They represent the, how should we say it, the departure of the 3 intellectual faculties. Istalkut. They disappear. How did we suddenly get to intellectual faculties? What's going on here? That's what it says. The Chabad, the wisdom, understanding, and knowledge depart. They ascend. They disappear. And then, Sheva de Nechamata Hidgalut Mochin de Atika. And then, we'll add a word that he's not saying here, but we'll add it already. The 7 consolations, the 7 weeks of consolation, the 7 haftarot of consolation, they represent new mindfulness or new understanding, or how to say it? Here it says awareness, new intellect that comes from Atika Kadisha, that comes from just Atika, that comes from the crown. Now, I added the word new, because he didn't say yet new. But that's what it's insinuating. It's telling you that the old mindset is gone, and now you get a new one. Then, B'sheva midot deza. Where do they reveal themselves? Why 7? Because he would say, if it's intellect, there should be 3. Just like when the mindset departed, the old mindset departed during the 3 weeks of calamity. So it should, if you're getting a new mindset, it should take 3 weeks. So why 7? Because it appears first in the emotional faculties of Zeir and Pin, of the small consonants. Then, Tarte de Tiyufta, the 2 weeks where we read about Teshuvah, Hu inyan aliyat ha-malchut al-yedei Teshuvah ilah v'tata, she'ola mibiyah. So the kingdom rises, it elevates by tshuva. Again, he's not explaining anything. He's just quoting from the Kabbalah books. Okay, he's going to explain this very, very deeply. Okay, ואחר כך מתן תורה של לוחות אחרונות, הוא עניין התגלות מוחין דעתיקה לנשמות דבייה. And then comes Yom Kippur, which is the giving of the Torah the second time, the second set of tablets. And that is the revelation of the mind, the intellect of Atika that we just received to the souls in the lower worlds, in creation, formation, and action. ואחר כך שמיני עצרת שמחת תורה, שהוא התגלות שמחה ותענוג לנשמות דבייה, כמו שכתוב, וישמחו בך למטה כמו למעלה, ממש כמו שהתבאר. And then Shmini Atzeret, the 2 last days of Sukkot, Shmini Atzeret and Simchas Torah, they represent the revelation of joy and pleasure to the lower souls. As it says in the davening, V'yismechu v'cha lemata k'mo lemala, they should rejoice in you below as they do above, as all this will be explained. Okay, so this is a typical opening of a mimer. You know this. This is how essays open. They give you a quote, or they give you some information, and now they're going to explain it. So now Rebbe Hillel is going to explain this. And he says, להבין סדר הדברים, to understand this entire order, צריך להקדים ולהבין קצת מה שכתוב, וישב משה לעדני. To understand this, we have to, first of all, introduce and go a little bit in depth into the whole story of the Exodus from Egypt. But we're not going to focus on the Exodus, we're going to focus on the interactions between Moshe Rabbeinu and Hashem. Okay, and for that we have this other page. And I want to just read through it. Okay? And I'll read through it in English, because afterward Moses and Aaron went and said to Pharaoh, "Thus says Havaya, the God of Israel, let my people go, that they may celebrate a festival for me in the wilderness." But Pharaoh said, "Who is Havaya?" I missed one. That's what I was trying to fix. "That I should heed him and let Israel go. I do not know Havaya, nor will I let Israel go." They answered, "The God of the Hebrews has become manifest to us. Let us go, we pray, a distance of 3 days into the wilderness to sacrifice to our God Havaya, lest God strike us with pestilence or sword." But the king of Egypt said to them, "Moses and Aaron, why do you distract the people from their tasks? Get to your labors." Meaning, go about your business. Stop bothering me. And that wasn't it. And Pharaoh continued, "The people of the land, meaning Am Haaretz, the simple people, are already so numerous, and you would have them cease from their labors? There's already so many of them. I need to take care of them. I need to give them something to do. And you want to distract them, and you want to get them. There's order here in Egypt. It's not like some kind of, it's not like a circus here. Here, everything has its place. So, this is how I run the country. Everybody has work. And you want to take them from their labors?" That same day, Pharaoh charged the taskmasters and overseers of the people, saying, "You shall no longer provide the people with straw for making bricks as heretofore. Let them go and gather straw for themselves. But impose upon them the same quota of bricks as they have been making heretofore. Do not reduce it, for they are shirkers. That is why they cry, 'Let us go and sacrifice to our God.' Let heavier work be laid upon those involved. Let them keep at it and not pay attention to deceitful promises." Okay, so this is his way of taking care of Moshe and Aaron, troubling him. He's saying that people are going to do more, not less. So the taskmasters and overseers of the people went out and said to the people, "Thus says Pharaoh, I will no longer give you any straw. You must go and get the straw yourselves, wherever you can find it, but there shall be no decrease whatsoever in your work." Then the people scattered throughout the land of Egypt to gather stubble for straw, and the taskmasters pressed them, saying, "You must complete the same work assignment each day as when you had straw." And the overseers of the Israelites, whom Pharaoh's taskmasters had set over them, were beaten, because they were the ones who were meeting the quotas. Why, they were asked, did you not complete the prescribed amount of bricks, either yesterday or today, as you did before? Then the overseers of the Israelites came to Pharaoh and cried, "Why do you deal thus with your servants? No straw is issued to your servants, yet they demand of us make bricks. Thus your servants are being beaten, when the fault is with your own people." He replied, "You are shirkers. That is why you say, 'Let us go and sacrifice to Havaya.' Be off now to your work. No straw shall be issued to you, but you must produce your quota of bricks." Now, so that was Act 1. Act 2 is the overseers now, the Jewish overseers, they meet Aaron and Moshe. So now the overseers of the Israelites found themselves in trouble because of the order, "You must not reduce your daily quantity of bricks." As they left Pharaoh's presence, they came upon Moses and Aaron standing in their path, and they said to them, "May Havaya look upon you and punish you for making us loathsome to Pharaoh and his courtiers, putting a sword in their hands to slay us." So that's all Moshe Rabbeinu needed to hear. He was broken from it. Because what did I come for? I came to save the people. And what's going on? Why is it becoming worse? So then Moses returned to Havaya and said, now listen to what he says. Oh my Lord, why did you bring harm upon this people? Why did you send me? What does everybody understand? That it's one question. But notice here how they broke it up correctly. It's actually two questions. We'll see in a moment what they mean. Ever since I came to Pharaoh to speak in your name, he has dealt worse with these people, and still you have not delivered your people. Then Havaya said to Moses, God said to Moses, you shall soon see what I will do to Pharaoh. He shall let them go because of a greater might. Indeed, because of a greater might, he shall drive them from his land. God spoke to Moses and said to him, I am Havaya. I appeared to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob as Kel Shakai, but I did not make myself known to them by my name Havaya. What's the answer to this question? Is there an answer? That's a good question. But like he's going to say in a moment, it's actually two questions. Okay, so now let's go back. Let's go back to Rebbe Hillel. So we read through this, so we'll just skip. V'tzarich le'avin. Okay, third line. V'tzarich le'avin. We need to understand. Kefel lashon hashela, lama hare'ota. The first he asks, why did you bring harm upon this people? Lama hare'ota lama ze. שעל דרך הפשוט הוא, שעל ידי מה שנתעורר עניין הגאולה נעשה תוקף הגלות. כמו שכתוב, תבן וכולי תכבד העבודה. What we usually understand is that Moses is asking God, why did you bring harm that you sent me to save them, and now it's become worse. That's how we understand it. ואם כן, מהו שכתוב עוד ומאז באתי הרע לעם הזה די נוכח? So, what then is the next question? Why did you send me? Because that seems to be asking the same thing. So Moses is not asking the same thing twice. וכן כפל לשון התשובה. But we also see that there are two answers that God provides. The first one is, ויאמר הווי, אתה תראה, ותשובה על מאמר למאורתה. You shall soon see what I will do to Pharaoh. That is an answer to the first question, why have you brought harm upon this people? ומה שכתוב אחר כך, and what it says afterwards, that וידבר אלוקים וירא, God spoke to Moses and said to him, I am Havaya, I appeared to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, הוא גם כן תשובה על מאמר למה הראותה, כמו שכתוב ברש"י בשם המדרש. It also is an answer to why have you made things difficult for them. ואם כן, למה צריך שתי תשובות או שאלה אחת? So first of all, why is he asking it twice? Secondly, why is God answering twice? גם התשובות בעצמם אינם מובנים. The answers themselves don't seem to be much of an answer to the question. במה מתורץ השאלה למה כעת בהתעוררות הגאולה נשא הגלות בתוקף יותר? Okay, so we have to end here. And we'll remember now that there are these two questions. They seem to be the same question. And two answers that seem to be both answering the same question, but both of them don't seem to be much of an answer. Okay? And we'll continue tomorrow. What? So see if you can figure it out before tomorrow.